Hi, and welcome back. Today we are going to look at the Anytime AT6666 Pro radio. It's a 10, 11, 12, and 15 meter radio. And we're going to use the NanoVNA and do an antenna sweep and see what kind of SWR we're getting. We have this hooked up to the Solarcon A-99 antenna, and I have adjusted it trying to favor the 10 meter band. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I think what I'm going to do, I put it on AM here on the beginning of the 10 meter band. I want to see what the SWR of my radio is at 28.3 megahertz. And then we'll look using the NanoVNA and see if it's similar to the built-in SWR meter. And then, like I said, we're going to use the NanoVNA and see how my graph looks on my SWR. But anyway, let's go ahead and key the mic. And you can see it's showing a SWR of 1.5 on 28.300 megahertz. We have 100 feet of coax that goes out to my A99 antenna. I think I've had it probably a little over a year. And as you can see, it's not very high. I think it's about 15 feet off the ground, connected to a pole on my shed here. We might try to raise it later, but let's go ahead and grab the NanoVNA and hook it up to the antenna. Now we're gonna have to release this off the clamps because the antenna is really tough to get to on this radio. It's a really tight fit. So let's take the clamp off, the bracket, and let's disconnect the antenna. All right, as I mentioned, it's a tight fit there, and you can see it sits right there against the heat shield. So it's hard to get your fingers in there and get that, get your fingers in there and unscrew it. But let me go ahead and unscrew it, and then I'll see you in a second. All right, so what we want to do now is we're going to program into the NanoVNA. We need to tap here, and we're going to put in the 10 meter and 11 meter band. So to do that, we need to go into stimulus. I've had other videos on this before, so check out one of my older videos on the NanoVNA if you want to see a little bit more in detail about this. But anyway, we're going to start the frequency at the bottom of the 11 meter band, which is 26.965. And that is megahertz. And then we need to do the end of the band, which would be the 10 meter band, 29.700 megahertz. And we got our frequency range in there. And if you look down here, you can see 26.965, and kind of hard to see here, 29.700. Let's see if we can focus in on that. A little bit better. All right. Now we need to calibrate this, and we'll do that very quickly. And to do that, we're going to have to go back. We hit calibrate, calibrate, and first thing you do, you have 3 of the calibration, I guess, little nuts here you screw on. And the open one has nothing in it. You just put it on the NanoVNA. You click open. Then you use short that has a little, it's really hard to see here. Let's see if we can focus on it. This one will short out the connection. You put that on and you hit short. And then the last one is load. You can see the little heat sink on the bottom, on the top of it. And we click load. Oh, you can't really see. Oh, I moved things around here. Let's try it again. And we have load done. Sorry about that. I didn't realize it went blurry. All right. And then we don't need to do the isolation or through. We click done. And let's save this in 3. And then if we want to turn on the grid, we go back. I believe it's in, is it in stimulus? No. Display, scale, show grid values. And then that's our SWR down here. Now the thing about these NanoVNA devices, they're very susceptible to static electricity. You can fry them. So before you hook up the antenna to this, we have the antenna that goes to the A-99, and we have an adapter here. What you want to do is discharge any static electricity, and all I do is touch the center post to the ground on the side here to get any static electricity out of the line. We've been getting snow and rain, so the humidity's pretty high. We don't have a lot of static buildup. All right, so we're going to take our antenna here and we're going to hook it up. And let's see if we can focus in on here a little better. And here we have our SWR of the antenna. And as you can see, we're starting at 26,965, which is the bottom of the CB band, the 11 meter band, and it goes all the way up to 29,700. And interesting wave on this. So we can see our SWR at the bottom of, what was the 29,965, the 11 meter band, is right around 1.25, and it looks like it goes all the way up to 3. But what you can do is on this, there's a little slide bar on here that you can move back and forth. Well, on the wheel, actually. Move the wheel back and forth. And we can see the different readings. So our frequency, remember, we did a reading at 28,300 and we had a reading of 1.5. So let's check that. So as you can see, if you look up in the corner, well, look up in the corner up here, you can see as I scroll the marker here, we can see the different frequencies, and then up here we can see the SWR. So let's go up to 28,300 and see if it matches our, what did we say it was, 1.5. Okay, that's about as close as we're going to get here. Pretty close. And see if we can get a little better here. And you can see we are at, it says 1.6. Let me tighten this. Oh, that's a little loose. 28.3.305. I mean, that's pretty close. 1.6. We had a reading of 1.5. So that's pretty close. So again, if we start at the bottom of the 11 meter band, we can see we start at 1.25. And then when we get to the very end of the 10 meter band, we have 3.25. But as you can see, it kind of gets really steep at the end. Most of the time I'm talking on this 10 meter band, I'm usually at around between 2.29, yeah, what is it? I'm normally between 28.300 and probably around 28.500 megahertz. I find that most of the activity occurs around there, at least for me. All right, excuse me. So let's go ahead and look at the 12 meter band, which is 24.890 to 24.990. So again, we go in here, let's go back, stimulus. We're going to start at 24.89 megahertz. And we're going to end at 24.990 megahertz. And then again, we need to go back in there, and let's go back. We need to calibrate. Let's hit reset. Back. Okay, what am I doing here? Calibrate. Oh, calibrate there. Okay, so we need the open. I'm kind of off camera here. All right, we got the open. We hit open. We need the short. We hit the short. And then we need the load. We put the load in there. We click done. And we'll put this in slot 4. And we are ready to test. Once you learn how to use the NanoVNA, it's pretty simple. Let's get this camera focused a little more. Let's get this in there. All right. Again, I'm going to make sure there's no static in the connection, and we're going to connect it. And as you can see on here, we're getting a reading pretty flat there of around 2.8, 2.9 on the 12 meter band. Remember, this is primarily a 10 and 11 meter antenna, but it is usable on the 12 and 15 meter band. So, like I said, what were we saying it was at? It was around 2.8, 2.9, which is a little high, but still usable. All you could put an antenna tuner on there. All right, so now that we're done there, let's go ahead and put in the 15. What was that? That was the 12 meter. Let's go ahead and do the 15 meter band. And I've had some luck on the 15 meter band, at least hearing people. When skip is kind of rolling the 15 meter band, you'll catch a few people on there. Usually it's local people around the United States. So anyway, let's go ahead and stimulus, start. The 15 meter band begins at 21.025 megahertz, and it stops at 21, looks like 21,450. I might be off here. All right, let's go ahead and calibrate it. Back, calibrate, let's reset it, calibrate, and we'll do all the good things again. Sorry if I'm boring you here. Trying to do this in a take without stopping the camera. Open, boom. Yeah, my hands are cold. All right, we're going to do short. And last one is load. And we are done. And let's save this. Let's put it where the 12 meter. 12 meter? Yeah, where the 12 meter one was. All right. So if we check our frequencies here, let's look on here. We start at 21.025, good. And we end at 21,450, good. All right, again, I'm going to try to discharge the antenna if anything's in there. Let's go ahead and hook it up and take a look at the 15 meter band. And as you can see, this antenna works a lot better on 15 meters than it did on 12 meters. We were above 3 on, just a little bit above 3 on 12, and on 15 meters, let's go ahead and move the marker down. We can see it starts at 1.74, and at the end of the band, it goes to right around 2 on the SWR units. So not bad at all. So as you can see, this antenna works really well on the 10, 11 meter and gets a little high on the end of the 10 meter band. But very doable, very usable. And on the 15 meter band, it's great. And it's a little high on the 12 meter band. I love this little NanoVNA. It's a nice little tool to use. Good to use out in the field. It is kind of fragile. You want to keep it protected. It doesn't have a lot of heft to it, but it does do the job. And like I said before, you just want to make sure when you hook an antenna up to it, especially an outside antenna, that there's no static built up within the antenna, or you can fry this. I've never done it, but I've seen several YouTube videos where people have done that before. All right, hoping not to make you dizzy here because I'm holding this in my hand. But let's go ahead. Let's see if there's any skip going on. It's 3:30. So how I like to check to see if skip's going on is I like to put it on the CB band. So let's go in lower sideband, and hop on over to CB.
I can hear that 721 getting the police driving around in pickup truck.
Okay, it looks like we have some skip going on. So let's go ahead, and we need to be on upper sideband. And let's go head on over to 12 meter, or no, 15 meter. I don't know why I keep calling, I keep mixing them up. But we're over on 15 meter. And let's see if we can pick up anything. But anyway, we can go through the frequencies on this radio with the knob here, or we can use the mic here, which I prefer to do. So let's see if we can find anything here. Okay, that's I know I'm going through fast, but I got a pretty good ear for this. Oh, might have heard something there. No. Okay. Okay, unfortunately, I'm not hearing anything on the 15 meter band. So let's go over to the 12 meter band just to see. Let's go over to 24,890. Let's see, what do we want? 890. And we'll just see if we see anything here. So this is the beginning of the 12 meter band.
Maybe reverse beaming, so and the reverse beaming, I think so, and so high. So thank you very much, wonderful here. So I think I captured the picture on your.
Okay, I have a feeling that's probably South America. I usually pick up South America later in the afternoon. And let's try 10 meter. So what do we need for 10 meter? We need 28,300. To get at the beginning of the band. Okay. Like I said, I love this radio. This is a wonderful radio. Does a great job. So let's go ahead. See if we can pick up anything on 10 meter.
Whiskey, good signal, 5x5 here in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, Dallas, Texas. See if we can pick up anything else.
FTVX101 microphone, running 1 kW, sounds good. In my case, my output power isn't as because yours only 200 watts, like peanut whistle.
Okay, if I thought I heard a call sign starting with J, so that would be a signal from Japan. So yeah, this radio with this antenna is awesome. It's, you know, it's just a basic antenna, but the Solarcon A-99 works really well with this radio with where I'm at. So anyway, there you have it, a NanoVNA. We did an antenna sweep. You can see the SWR. This antenna is very usable at 10, 11, 12, and 15 meters.